The first episode of the Physique Development Podcast. So today, I just kind of introduce what we're going to be expecting with this podcast, what kind of things we're going to be talking about, what to expect in the future, and future topics. So first of all, I've always wanted to do some type of long format content with either YouTube or podcasts. I think I'm probably going to end up doing both, but see which one I like going forward. So it could be a combination of the two. The reason behind it, I'm probably starting now, is because I bought a camera. So invested in a camera. Obviously, it's all an investment. I wanted to do long format content for a very long time, and I thought this is the time to do it. I think the short format stuff on Instagram is good and I enjoy it, but I just wanted to give it the justice it deserved with the amount of effort that I'm going to put into it, the quality of everything going in. I didn't want to make it shit with kind of like filming it on my phone and stuff like that. I just felt a little bit amateur with it when I've done it in the past, and I've just not been happy with it. So going forward, I'm going to start producing more long format type stuff. Reason behind that is I enjoy it, and I think it's going to be quite fun creating the content, and I enjoy making it. So that's kind of the reasoning behind it. So I'm just going to mess around with the camera. I've got to learn how to do a film with the camera. That in itself is an epically hard task, which I thoroughly underestimated. So I can totally now sympathise with everyone who has a camera. Fucking hell, there is so many fucking buttons. And the kind of things we'll be going to in this podcast is I will be going into things like things along my journey, what I discovered, how things may change and trends change, and what kind of things to be wary of, and how to basically produce the best physical development for yourself, for your physique going forward, how to produce that, kind of the problems that I've faced in the past, the solutions to those problems, and stuff like that. So this episode is going to be majority about finding the setting for you. So with gym environments, there's such a massive selection of gyms now, and they've all niched down into like select niches. So CrossFit, bodybuilding, personal training, commercial gyms, studios, and then there's like MMA gyms, which are maybe less equipment but more open space. Then there is kind of more of the standardized commercial gyms, personal training gyms, I think I mentioned as well. So there's so many niches now with gyms. It can be overwhelming where to start. Where would I recommend to start? Where could be the best niche for you, basically? Where would it suit? And obviously with every gym there's a different kind of vibe and energy and community built into that gym as well. Obviously been doing this for quite a few years now. Well, when I say a few, like over 15. So I've been in a few different gyms, and I'd probably say feel confident in every single gym that I would go into, with how everything works. So I'll briefly give you an explanation of where I've been. So for me, I started off in a very spa type gym. Actually, I just forgot to mention that. A spa type gym, which was my first introduction with my dad and my brother. That was pretty cool, pretty epic. Had some really good workouts there. They had a quite good selection of machines, but then comparing that to like bodybuilding gyms, the machine selection is actually quite reduced. And then there's also with spa gyms as well, there's potentially not certain exercises that you can do. So like deadlifts and stuff like that. I mean, then there is quite a lot of an emphasis on more of like a calming nature. So going in there and slamming done deadlifts and trying to be a powerlifter, is probably not going to be the place to do that. And obviously there will be like a cap on weights as well, dumbbells to a certain weight. There might be quite a few micro adjustments because it's normally caters for like an elder person. So that's kind of my introductory start. And then with the rugby, if people don't know, I used to be in the Exeter Chiefs Academy, which sounds a lot cooler than it is. So it started there, and also played for Cornwall, the county. Grew up in being taught by quite high caliber coaches. So a lot of the fundamentals was taught to me from a very high standard of coaching at the time. I think it has progressed quite a lot over the years. In the last 10, 15 years, I think the absolute quality of coaching has increased dramatically. So started off learning the basics, and then there was a big boom of CrossFit in about, I'd like to say 15 or 16, when I was 15, 16 years old. So I've been training 3 or 4 years now. I put on quite a lot of weight by then and put a lot of muscle mass on, just from training as hard as I could. And then at 16 to 18, I'd say the majority of my workouts was a combination of CrossFit workouts and strength conditioning workouts. Just simply because the strength conditioning coach, for people that don't know what strength conditioning coach is, it's basically a personal trainer that's in charge of a sports team and kind of is more of in its sport specific based rather than looks and aesthetic based. So that's kind of the difference. So that was kind of where I started, and then CrossFit was much, comparing that to what kind of workouts I was doing at the beginning. CrossFit workouts is kind of like, they'll fry you like bacon. It's a quite good term that I did at the CrossFit Level 1 course. Being fried like bacon after a workout. So it is very, very taxing. It will be a combination of conditioning and strength work, not a lot of accessory work, or generally as a rule of thumb, not a lot of machine work either. They don't. It's more barbells and bumper plates and kettlebells and stuff like that, and strongman equipment. Some strongman equipment. So yeah, I was doing that. That kind of is much more. It's like a very intense no performance enhancers or drug-free environment that you kind of got the vibe of. You also start doing Olympic weightlifting as well. So yeah, that was kind of, for me, it was just a very intense, hardcore kind of approach. It was more, when it first started, more of like a military thing. And that was kind of the vibe that you got. Then it kind of changed. The vibe turned more into CrossFit Games and stuff like that, which is a competitive event, which kind of changed it into more of a sport, in my opinion. So it started being kind of something what military people did, and kind of more randomized workouts to more, it changed into a sport and people trained for that sport. I think that's kind of where it pivoted. So I did that for a bit during college work. Didn't really like it too much, but I did it anyway. Did my strength stuff. I always loved the strength stuff. Then I got into Olympic weightlifting a bit more. And then I went to university. As I went into university, I did a combination of kind of like powerlifting, kind of like a hybrid of powerlifting, bodybuilding, and weightlifting. Kind of went through phases of all of them. Really loved that. Really liked training like that. But then again, because I was training in a university gym, a bodybuilding gym, and then kind of like a strength conditioning suite. The difference, I'd say, between all three of those environments: the university gym, incredibly social, but very busy. Loads of people. So if you are not comfortable, you're going to see a lot of beginners there. Really, quite relatively cheap, and it's not going to be very intimidating, in my opinion. And then the bodybuilding gym, complete opposite. So generally going to be more intimidating because there's going to be a lot of performance enhanced drug guys, what's like steroid based guys, going to be there. So a lot of big guys, and you're kind of not in a lot of new machinery. You might not know how that machine works. Can be quite confusing and intimidating. I probably wouldn't recommend beginners to go there unless you're going with a partner or a friend. And then strength conditioning suite, no one's there at all. So it's like a privatized gym for yourself. So same again, not going to be intimidating because no one's there. But if you don't know what you're doing, there's also no one to help. So unlike the university gym, there's loads of people there. So yeah, quite a few selections there. And then moving on, I kind of went into more. Then I did a few times, went to pure gyms, ultra flexes, iron. I forgot what it's called. Before ultra flex, it was called. I think it was called Iron Athlete or something like that. Went to there a couple of times, and then went to small independent gyms. Went to a few CrossFit boxes. Kind of quite a big selection and array there. And then once I finished university and went home, went to go more 24/7 gyms. You kind of can be, unlike a commercial gym or council gym or some independent gyms, you are going to be in a kind of more of a, you kind of zone out a little bit more like that private feeling if you go to the right gym, if it's not too busy. So there is a lot of niches that you can kind of go into with your avenues. With what I would recommend for a beginner is probably, in a perfect world, I would probably say going into a private gym or into a small independent gym with a good quality coach, which I had at the beginning, luckily enough, with the S&C guys. So a lot of one-on-one time with them. And then it's kind of like niching down to what you want with your goal. And obviously your environment is going to dictate what you achieve in that place. So if you go into a gym, which is a bodybuilding gym, you're most likely going to train like a bodybuilder, and you're most likely going to get bodybuilding results, or you're going to push you towards that direction. I'll have a coffee, we'll break. So yeah, going forward, with the area you're choosing, your surroundings, I probably, if I was going to say, if someone came up to me and asked me for my recommendations to where to start, depends on where you want to be and what you want to achieve. So if you're a beginner, obviously there's financial reasoning behind it as well. So if you haven't got a lot of money, then it's probably you're going to look for like a pure gym type vibe, which is going to be a bit lower bracket. And then if you can afford it and push that budget a little bit more and maybe invest a little bit more money, I'd probably recommend going to a personal training gym. I'd probably recommend going to either a council gym or an independent gym. I probably wouldn't recommend CrossFit box straight away, because I think, in my opinion, building that foundational strength and understanding of the machines and free weights can be beneficial just to give you that foundational knowledge, and it's not going to burn you out too much when you go to do CrossFit, which can be sometimes overwhelming with the amount of intensity that they bring to the sessions and the competitiveness, which some people will really like, which I understand, but they'll normally come from a sporting background, in my opinion. All CrossFit gyms are obviously run different, so it depends on the person. So, but I do think that CrossFit has brought an epic community vibe to the fitness industry. I have to say that, absolutely superb. I think that's absolutely improved the industry by tenfold, and I think a lot of people and personal trainers have taken that on board, including myself. I think CrossFit led that in the last 5 years, and people have taken that on board and hybrided it into other gyms. So something that has definitely improved is the community vibe. Also, going forward, when is it the right time to maybe get a personal trainer? Murphy Training for all your personal training services. Add me, Instagram, everything. Message me. No, I'm joking. You don't. You can choose whoever you want. So, if you're looking to get a personal trainer, I probably recommend, if you cannot go with a friend who has a good understanding and knows where they're at, that's kind of your opening to get a personal trainer, because they're going to teach you things that I'm not going to have a clue on. They're going to give you some advice on maybe gym etiquette, then which is also making you not look like a numpty. Is kind of, when you go into the gym, there is a certain amount of standards to that gym. Not all gyms have the same gym etiquette as well. So if you have a personal trainer, say at a CrossFit gym, the etiquette may be slightly different at a commercial gym. So much confusion, and you're only going to get that with experience, or paying someone for their experience. So there is something to be said with that. So you think about starting, I've just confused the fuck out of you with all this gym nonsense. Where should you go? You should go either to a 24/7 or commercial gym if you're going with a friend who gives you a good understanding. If you don't have a friend, don't go to a 24/7 gym, because there's going to be a lot of information, and if you're not confident, you might not know how to use all the machines if you can't afford a personal trainer. There is some personal trainers, but generally it's a bit of a lower standard at some 24/7 gyms, in my opinion. Then there's also, you could get coaching from a personal training gym, which would be good, which is what the currently gym that I use. The reason people might say, oh, you're biased. Well, yeah, I might be a little bit biased, but I do think the standard of coaching is very broad, and the general standard of coaching at a good quality personal training gym, maybe it'll be a little bit pricier, but it probably is going to be worth it in the long run, because a bit like anything, if you pay the price is right, you're going to get good quality coaching and you're going to improve on that. So personal training gyms, potentially an independent gym if it's to a good standard, if it's not too intimidating, or a personal training studio I'd probably recommend as well, just because it's a good standard. So that's episode 1 of the Physique Development Podcast. I think I've got someone calling it, I can't remember, might change it. Episode 1 in the books. Wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be, but probably going to get -2 views. Brilliant. Thank you for taking the time to watch this all the way through. If you're looking to start up in a new gym environment, have a think about that. What kind of vibe you're looking for, what ethos you're looking for, and what are you trying to get from that. Like I said, maybe try and push your budget and go to a better quality gym that's going to help give you a proactive start towards your fitness journey and physique development. Managed to get that title in there. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, subscribe, or share it to your friends if you think that it would be interesting for them. My name's Joe Murphy. If you want to follow me on Instagram, or if you want any messages personally to myself, I'm more than happy to give you a message back. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll speak to you soon.